I am Queen of the Kinks, and I will be your official guide through the exciting world of being a hot wife. Our goal at the Cuck Life is to make your fantasies become a reality. Do you want to be a hot wife? Would you like to become a cuckold, truly your hot wife? Well, you've come to the right place. Be sure to find us on the web at www.thecucklife.com. That way you can find all of our great content. We have numerous articles for him, her, and for couples on how to get started in this amazing lifestyle. We also have a multitude of fun quizzes to take, and these are directed at couples as well as the individual. They will tell you if you have what it takes to be a hot wife or a cuckold. I personally love being a hot wife. I wouldn't want it any other way. One of the steps to becoming a hot wife. Becoming a hot wife in some ways is easier than you think. In other ways, it's very difficult. It is a team activity and not a solo act. You need communication and a strong relationship to even consider the lifestyle. Without these two things, you're surely headed for failure. Each husband is different, and therefore there is no surefire way to make this happen. Some husbands are on board quickly and others need some time. The good news is over 60% of married men have fantasized about their wives having sex with other men. So you have a keen advantage compared to the married man trying to convince his wife to have sex outside of the marriage. It's easier for the wife to convince the husband sometimes than the other way around. So what do you want out of it? The very first thing you need to ask yourself is, what do you want out of it? This question should not be taken lightly. Depending on your answers, it'll determine if you need to work on yourself or your relationship first. Are you doing it because there's a specific guy you want to have a relationship with? This is the wrong reason for it. The fact that you already have your eyes on someone suggests that you're wanting your cake and to eat it too. It means usually that this man you're wanting is a partial replacement for your husband in some way. Being a hot wife is not finding men to replace your husband in any way, shape, or form. Are you doing it because your husband is pressuring you into doing it? This is not the correct reason for it. If you do this, then you're going to resent him for pressuring you into doing something that your heart is not into. Your husband needs to realize that you are not into this, and you need to tell him so assertively. Are you doing it because you and your husband think this will be fun and exciting? This may be a valid reason, but you need to make sure that both of you are ready for the consequences of you having sex with other men. Couples often think that they can handle it, but when the time comes, they find that they cannot. Are you doing it to create a stronger bond between you and your husband? Are both of you interested in the idea equally? This is the proper outlook and motivation to have. Being a hot wife is a team effort and should be used as a tool for a stronger relationship. Communication is the key to this lifestyle. Without it, your marriage will end. If you're the one that would like to bring this topic up to your husband, this needs to be done with tact. Do not just come out with a, "Honey, I want to have sex with other men." This will not go over as well as you planned it. Communication between you and your husband needs to be one of honesty and sincerity. Let him know what your desires are and your concerns. Allow him to express himself as well. Only you know how to bring this topic up to him. One size does not fit all when it comes to suggesting such a thing. Some husbands will be on board fairly quickly. Others will have an adamant no. You'll probably know this even before you approach him with the idea. If your husband is insecure and he's the jealous type, you may not have much of a shot at this. The last thing that he would want to do is to lose you, and he would fear that by doing this, it's him feeding you to the lions. Suggesting this as an idea you are playing with, just to bring you closer together as a couple, is probably the best way. Allow him to review some articles on the subject, but do it with both of you present. Speak of the positive things that it could bring to both of you. Don't only focus on yourself. He needs to see some kind of reward in this, or his answer will be no. A more cautious approach is a slow desensitizing of the idea. Do some role play in the bedroom and some playful teasing. Bring up how much he would enjoy watching you have sex with someone else while you're in the bedroom. Give him mental images and scenarios that would be a turn on for him, not for you. Once again, he needs to see the reward in all of this, or he's going to reject it. Never bring up someone that you know. He's a celebrity or a made-up man. Bringing up the conversation to him or watching some porn, if he would like to see you in a porno, can really get the juices flowing. Allow him to start seeing you with other men in a fantasy setting for strictly sex with no emotion involved. Be sure to always bring up how the men you would discard after you both used them. It is a team effort, remember. Allow him to feel like he's in charge of it all. He controls the show. If he goes along with a playful conversation about you being a porn star, make him the director. Ask him what he would make you do in front of the camera. Constantly reinforce that you only have eyes for him and your heart belongs to him. He needs to feel secure in your relationship and where he stands with you. Slowly adding things to the idea will break him in where the conversation will be easier at a later date. There is no need to rush into any of this. Show him how much he would enjoy it. One of my favorite things to do is to tell him about my past sexual experiences. I tell him about my past lovers and the things that I did to them and what they did to me. This makes him realize you are a sexual creature and you have a sexual past. Even with all the sex that you've had in the past, he still is the one that you chose over everyone else. Remind him of this. He may not like hearing about these things at first, but eventually he will see it as not a threat. As time goes by, he will more than likely get turned on by it and like listening to you talk about it. Make it as sexy as you can, but show him a reward for listening to it. When watching porn, tell him what you would do if you were the female in the scene. Get him used to you talking about sex so boldly and your desires. Tell him a story, and then afterwards tell him that you're so horny and you want him right then. Give him some kind of sexual relief when talking about these things, and he will soon learn that there is a reward in it. Tell him about a dream that you had about having sex with some guy that he introduced to you, how much it turned you on and how you want him bad. Don't be afraid to be sexually aggressive towards him so he can see what a turn on it is for you. When he sees he gets a reward from you thinking about such things, he will not want it to stop. When the topic of a spouse having sex with someone else comes up, they will probably bring up them doing the same thing. He may ask you about him having sex with other women. This is a test. He may be seeing if you want him to have sex with other men just to get rid of him, hoping that he finds someone so you can leave the relationship. He may think you already have somebody in mind and you're just trying not to feel guilty about it. When this is brought up, answer with, I would understand if you wanted to, and it would only be fair. But to be honest, I would become very jealous, and I wouldn't take it well. I'm not as secure as you are. You can also respond with, are you asking to be swingers? If that is something you want to do, I could try it with you. I don't know how I'd feel about that. It seems too personal. I don't want anything personal. If he ever asks you if you have someone in mind or he hints at it, tell him no. Tell him that you're only playing with the thought and don't even know if you could go through with it. That the only way that you could do it is if you knew what turned him on. That you would want what you did to get him so excited that later he would simply ravish you. That the whole point behind it would be getting him off. Make this all about his pleasure and his fun, but be sure to take your time. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Don't rush into anything. Take your time and choose your battles wisely. Listen close to what he says and pay attention to his reaction. This will tell you what you need to work on in order to progress. If you rush into this, you will only get an upset husband and not what your goal is, becoming a hot wife. Baby steps are the best way. Slow and steady wins the race. This can take months to even years depending on the person. Over a slow progression of 6 months, most men will be pretty comfortable with the idea enough to try it once. The first time will be the factor that determines if this is going to be a long-going activity. The first time is very important. You both will be going through an emotional roller coaster. There will be regrets, hurt, confusion, jealousy, and even resentment. The important thing is to shower him with affection and love afterward. This will ease his concerns. He needs to know that nothing has changed between you, and you're crazy about him even more. If he feels like you've enjoyed this more than being with him, then he will feel horrible about himself. He will feel weak in some standard. You need to tell him that the only thing that made it good for you was knowing that he was there and how much it made you want him even more. That the level of trust that he has in you is a huge turn on, and you wouldn't ever replace him, that he is the best of the best. Give it some time before you do it again, to allow the feelings to be discussed and dealt with. This is when your communication needs to be the utmost priority. Be sure he doesn't hide any feelings from you. Whatever he brings up, validate his feelings as something that is important to you, that his concerns are yours. Try to ease any concerns he has, to give him confidence that everything is okay. After you reach this level, the rest is just wash, rinse, and repeat. As time goes by, it'll become easier for him and for you. He will feel secure, and then you can carry the title, Hot Wife. If I had it my way, all women would be a hot wife. And when you earn the title Hot Wife, you're only steps away from the next level, Slut Wife. I personally have been a hot wife for years now, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I wish you all the luck in the world to becoming a hot wife.